Hello and welcome back to Radio 2, to Lesson 3 of Performance and Formatics. And what I'm going to do today is we're going to look at the homework I gave you in the previous lesson, which is to create an ad, a 30-second against gender-based violence ad. And I'm going to just give you a few more tools to help you with how to put this ad together, okay? So together we're going to create a very rough draft of an ad to give you an idea of what it is that you should be doing. So this should be quite an interesting lesson. So if we look at the homework I gave you in the previous lesson, what I said that I want you to do.
We ended off the previous class with me giving you some homework in the form of creating an advert against gender-based violence. I asked you to copyright and script, produce, voice, engineer, and mix a 30-second ad, and then to send it to me.
So the questions that we'll be asking with regards to the adverts, and there are a few of them, are the following. Did the advert get to the point? Was it concise and impactful? Did it talk in pictures? Did it have a hook at the beginning? And then did it have a kicker at the end? So that's what we'll be looking for. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you a couple of examples of gender-based violence ads that I found on YouTube that are not quite 30 seconds, but most of them are roundabout. So this is the first one, and this one is a 30-second ad.
And now the weather. You can expect a mix of conditions, none of which you'll be comfortable with. That's because violence or being bullied or threatened at home is not normal. It's domestic abuse, but it can creep into daily life so victims barely notice anything is wrong. It is wrong. If you're experiencing domestic abuse or know someone who is, speak out to stop it. Call the police on 101 or in an emergency 999, or the Domestic and Sexual Violence Helpline on 0808 802 1414.
Okay, so that's the first one. As you could hear, it's a pure public service announcement. There's another one of those, just with a male's voice.
And now the weather. You can expect a mix of conditions, none of which you'll be comfortable with. That's because violence or being bullied or threatened at home is not normal. It's domestic abuse, but it can creep into daily life, so victims barely notice anything is wrong. It is wrong. If you're experiencing domestic abuse or know someone who is, speak out to stop it. Call the police on 101 or in an emergency 999 or the Domestic and Sexual Violence Helpline on 0808 802 1414. And now the weather.
Okay, so this is one that came out last year, and it's a little bit longer. It's 40 seconds.
A loving partner shouldn't take away your choice of clothes, your choice to wear makeup, or the music you choose to listen to. They shouldn't take away your purse or your car keys. And a loving partner shouldn't take away your phone so that when your daughter calls again and again, you can't answer. If your partner's controlling you, it's domestic abuse and against the law. Don't delay in seeking help during the current coronavirus situation. Call the 24-hour helpline in confidence or visit safer.scot.
Okay, that one was obviously made last year for lockdown with the coronavirus. And this is the last one. This one was made in 2015, so it's quite a few years old already.
I love you. If I can't have you, no one can. You're mine. I'll have you when I want you. Is that love? That isn't love. It's control. It's cruelty. It's abuse. True love empowers. It heals. It protects. But there isn't a love that controls. Emotional control is domestic abuse too. Police Scotland will not tolerate domestic abuse. If you're taking away somebody's freedom, we'll do everything we can to take away yours. There's no hiding place.
The police in Scotland had this ad made against domestic abuse. So that was the 4, okay? So that's these 4. So the questions to ask is, did the adverts get to the point? Yes, they definitely did. Were they concise and impactful? Yes, I would say so. Did it talk in pictures? 1 or 2 of them did. Did it have a hook at the beginning and the kicker at the end? Not really in this case so much, but it did get everything else. So I would say that most of those were quite impactful. So if we get to the ad that I put together, just briefly to give you an example of what it would be like to create an ad like this.
Just full disclaimer there. Some of these words are not my own. It came from a First for Women ad that was done against gender abuse. So here you can see my wording. So my script reads, across our country, we're facing a new threat. We're scrambling to keep ourselves and our loved ones out of harm's way. We've been told to stay safe, to stay at home. But what if my home isn't safe? What if the real danger is in here? What if my threat is as large as COVID-19 or perhaps even larger to me? What if there are women among us who have a lot more to fear than cabin fever? Women who are fearing for their lives and just hoping to still be alive by next week. With nowhere to turn and nowhere to run to. Let's make sure they have a voice. Let's let every woman know that even while she may be isolated, she is never alone. For help, contact the GBV Command Center on 0800 428 428. So that is my copywriting and scripting part done. Now we're moving on to the production side of it. So my voice is done. I used my own voice just to record this. So now I'm going to edit this clip.
Okay. So you can see, I'm just quickly going to do this because I can see what's where.
We've been told to, but what happened? We've been told to stay safe, to stay at home.
So in essence, all I'm doing right now is I'm cutting out all the dead air.
But what happens when your home is not safe? But what if my home isn't safe? What if the real danger? But what happens when your home isn't safe? What if my home isn't safe? What if the real danger is in here? What if my threat is as large as COVID-19, or perhaps even larger to me?
So the thing is, you can always go back and cut more. For now, I'm just splitting it to get all the voice pieces together. So if you've never used anything like this, it might be a little bit daunting. So it might be worth getting someone to assist with this.
What if there are women among us that have a lot more to fear than cabin fever?
So I'm obviously not a voiceover artist. This is just something I'm doing very briefly, so you can get an idea of what it takes just to put something together quickly.
Women who are fearing for their lives and just hoping, who have no one, with nowhere to turn and nowhere to run to. Let's give these women a voice. Let's give these women a voice. Let's make sure they have a voice.
Okay, so see here what I did is I recorded 2 different versions.
Let's give these women a...
Okay, so that's not what the script says.
Let's make sure they have a voice.
Okay.
Let's let every woman know that even while she may be isolated, she's never alone. Let's let every woman know that while...
So it's always, a voiceover artist would always do a couple of different voices, depending on what it is that you are looking for.
Let's let every woman know that even while she may be isolated, she is never alone.
Let's just cut this out.
For help, contact the GBV. For help, contact the GBV Command Center on 0800.
So in case you're wondering how I recorded that, I literally just quickly did it on my phone. So I literally took my phone and I literally just recorded it on voice memos and I airdropped it to myself, as one does when you work on an Apple. So it's really quite quick. Also, depending on the phone that you have, you'll be able to edit content and things straight on your phone, okay? So you don't have to worry if you don't necessarily have a laptop. You can do these things on your phone. So let's just listen now. So here's all my audio pieces cut. Very raw audio, but still, at least it's there. So let's just listen to it. Across our country, we're facing a new threat. We are scrambling to find ways to keep ourselves and our loved ones out of harm's way. We've been told to stay safe, to stay at home. What if my home isn't safe? What if the real danger is in here? What if my threat is as large as COVID-19, or perhaps even larger to me? What if there are women among us that have a lot more to fear than cabin fever? Women who are fearing for their lives and just hoping to still be alive by next week, who have no one, with nowhere to turn and nowhere to run to. Let's make sure they have a voice. Let's let every woman know that even while she may be isolated, she is never alone. For help, contact the GBV Command Center on 0800 428 428. Okay, so that is the raw audio. So I'm not going to go into intense detail and show you things like voice cancellation and all that jazz. I'm literally just going to layer it. So I'm just going to now find a sound that we can use for this and then just kind of put it all together and then voila, have it there, okay? Because as I've said, the idea for me with this is just to show you so that you can get an idea of what it takes to create something like this. So it's not so difficult. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look at sounds that are already there so that I don't have to create a sound from scratch, okay? If needed to, I could. Let's say for this kind of a thing, what would you use? You would probably use a piano, probably not a grand piano, like a piano upper, I presume. Okay, so either way, I'm going to need another track now, right? So this will be a software instrument track. So there's a lot of different sounds here that I could use if I wanted to use a sampler and create my own sound now. But just for this specific exercise, I'm not going to do that because it's going to take quite a while to do. I'm just going to go here to the loops that I already have and search for piano sounds. Okay, so this can take quite a while, as you can see. So the other way of doing it then is going via genre. And what would we call it? I don't know. Let's start with chilled waves and see what comes up. Ooh, no. Somehow I don't think chill wave is going to work. Let's try indie. Let's try piano. Also, I don't think there are any pianos here. It's a lot of synth. Yeah, that's okay. This is why people just create their own sounds. With a bit slower beat. So if we look at tempo, not beat, sorry, tempo. Let's look, what do they have that's slower? Eek. All right, also not. So something like that could work for us for now. Okay, so this is not ideal the way I'm doing it now. We might get some feedback and things because my input and my output is now in the same place. But it's fine for this exercise. So we can use a couple of these different synthesizers if we want. Something like that at the beginning. Avoid feedback. Yes, yes. That can definitely work. Okay, so now we start putting the stuff together. Okay, so let's move the synth first. Across our country, we're facing. Let's mute everything that we're not going to use right now, and delete that ghost piano because we're not using it. So delete unused tracks. Okay, so we want to give ourselves a couple of seconds. Probably, let's see. Across our country, we're facing a new threat. So now what we do is we move these up. Close that. Okay, and then we move these. Just to give us some space. Because normally I wouldn't also have it in one row, but you know, for this is fine. Across our country, we're facing a new threat. Let's time stretch it. So I want to make it a little bit slower. It's as large as COVID. Across our country, we're facing a new threat. We are scrambling to find ways to keep ourselves and our loved ones out of harm's way. See, now is where we need to just start checking the volumes as well. Obviously, the voice would need to be louder than the piano here. And what I'm going to do with the piano is I'm just going to let it go on for a while. Okay, so now it's across our country, we're facing a new threat. We are scrambling to find ways to keep ourselves and our loved ones out of harm's way. Harm's way. We've been told to stay safe. Okay, so I'm still cutting a couple of more pieces. Right, let's see now. Where are we? We've been told to. Across our country, we're facing a new threat. Can you hear that? We are scrambling to find ways to keep ourselves and our loved ones out of harm's way. We've been told to stay safe. We've been told to stay safe. To stay safe, to stay at home. What if my home isn't safe? What if the real danger is in here? What if my threat is as large as COVID-19, or perhaps even larger to me? What if there are women among us that have a lot more to fear than cabin fever? What if there are women among us? What if my threat is as large as COVID-19, or perhaps even larger to me? Larger to me. Perhaps even larger to me. What if there are women among me? Women among us, larger to me. What if there are women among us that have a lot more to fear? What if there are women that have a lot more to fear than cabin fever? That have a lot more to fear than cabin fever? Than cabin fever. Women who are fearing for their lives and just hoping to still be. Women who are fearing for their lives. Fearing for their lives. And just hope. Lives. And just hoping to still be alive by next week. By next week. Live by next week. Who have no one, with nowhere to turn and nowhere to run to. Let's make sure they have a voice. Let's let every woman know that. Let's make sure they have a voice. Let's let every woman know that even while she may. For help, contact the GBV Command Center on For help, contact the GBV Command Center on 0800 428 428. Okay, see, so now it looks like the mixture that I showed you. You can see it's here. It's picking me up as I'm speaking. So, and there's my master volume. So this should make it a little bit easier just to understand what we're doing. So there's the channel equalizers. So these are audio. And here's the piano. And so here's all my sounds down here, okay? Okay, so this is a very rough version of it, but here let's see how it's going. Across our country, we're facing a new threat. We are scrambling to find ways to keep ourselves and our loved ones out of harm's way. We've been told to stay safe, to stay at home. What if my home isn't safe? What if the real danger is in here? What if my threat is as large as COVID-19, or perhaps even larger to me? What if there are women among us that have a lot more to fear than cabin fever? Women who are fearing for their lives and just hoping to still be alive by next week. Who have no one, with nowhere to turn and nowhere to run to. Let's make sure they have a voice. Let's let every woman know that even while she may be isolated, she is never alone. For help, contact the GBV Command Center on 0800 428 428. Okay, so I'm just going to stop there for now. So where we were at that track is now that the rough version of it is done now. There's quite a bit of production needed now, and then engineering and then mastering before that track would be done, especially on the audio that, as you would have heard. And obviously, I'm not expecting you to do it as in-depth as that, but that is the idea, okay, with the ad that you're creating. So you can play around and do pretty much anything with it. If it's really good, then we can actually master it and perhaps send it and perhaps try and do something with it. So by now you should have all the tools to be able to create this 30-second ad yourself. As you can see, it's really not that difficult. You can even do it on your cell phone. And then just in summary, with regards to everything that we've put together from both a formatics and a performance point of view, I'm just reiterating these points. Radio communication utilizes the theater of the mind, and the people on the radio must talk in pictures. This is the same principle applies to all material written and produced for on-air use as well. Okay, so for everything. When you listen to the radio, you will notice there's talent that sounds spontaneous, natural, and easy. And then on the other side, talent that sounds pained and uncomfortable when things go astray. You don't want to be the second person, okay? So you want to train yourself in such a way with the formatics tools that we gave you in order to be that first person that can handle when a situation goes wrong. Seasoned professional talent always gives the impression that they are in control no matter what. This is a skill that can be learned, as mentioned, by using those elementary tools and by learning how to self-correct. Yes, some talent may view formatics as restrictive, but the audience likes the structure of station formatics. Okay, listeners want to know to whom they are listening. And then lastly, on-air personalities must learn to be creative within the confines of their formatics. If I tell you you need these tools incorporated in whatever you are putting out on air, then you can take that and make it your own and use it as best you can. And that brings us to the end of this lesson. So remember, once again, next week, Monday, I want all of your videos, okay? So that was your homework again. So make sure to get those in. And with that, I say goodbye until the next lesson.